So I'll record. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna make a little counter. I'll start over. So I'm just starting a new sketch. So we're talking about how to make a timer essentially. And so we want to have a counter to count time. So call this a counter. You could call it a timer too. Let's start it at 0. And then what we want to have is some interval. So interval is just a big word for like an amount of time. So an interval is like the amount of time between, now and the end of class or something like that. And so the interval, if depending on how close to real time you want to be, you can use different numbers for this. So if you want it to be 1 second, we are going to try to, our program is going to try to run at 60 frames per second. That's kind of the goal for a P5 program and, most graphics software. So if we want our interval to be 1 second, we would do 60 times 1. So 60 frames per second, so 60 frames in 1 second. So then in our draw function, we're just going to count up once every frame. So we'll say counter plus plus, and we'll say if our counter equals our interval, then whatever we want to happen, we can set to happen. So maybe I'll just add some text. So I'll say variable meme text, and I'll start it out as an empty string, so there'll be no text. And once we hit our interval, we'll say meme text equals um, uh, hello world. And so then we'll draw our meme text. So we'll say text, meme text, and we'll put it in the middle of the canvas. So we'll say width over 2, height over 2. And I'm going to steal my font formatting from this code because I don't want to rewrite that whole thing. So let's just grab this font formatting and I'll put this in the setup function. We only have to do this once. And so now let's also look at our counter. So under the text, the meme text, I'm going to put the counter itself. And let's actually put this up in like the top left corner. And so we can see the counter counting up. And then when it hits our interval, then we get the text. So that's how we can count time. It's not going to be 100% accurate because our program is just trying to run at 60 frames per second, but one frame may take a little bit longer or a little less, may take more or less time depending on how much work our processor is doing to render a frame. But that's kind of the basic idea. If we want to count something and then wait, and then if we want to reset that, I could say something like function mouse pressed, and then we could reset our counter back to 0. And so there we go. And then if I reset, oh, and then we have to reset our text as well. So let's say meme text equals empty string. So every time I click, we're going to reset our counter back to 0. And you can see it's going pretty fast. It's going 60 frames per second, so it's going faster than we can actually count. But you can see it going up if you don't look at the um, the single digit. So does that kind of cover what you were thinking about, or is there a more specific?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
I'll try it.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll stop recording.